So, also like one of the things I wanted to speak to you about is like obviously once again as a consumer, I love watching more movies, different content, and like obviously we've got these gadgets, right? We've got these gadgets, these phones, obviously cameras or whatever. Technology basically is much advanced. You don't understand. We are in a very good place when it comes to technology in a certain way. Like, but one thing for me that I realized as well in terms of like you see, you know the UK when they keep on talking about there's always the UK is always making like like these gang movies or whatever, the same
I knew you were
content,
gonna say that.
yeah, the same content. Like who's like obviously like again with all of these gadgets and whatever, like
Yeah.
who's really like not to blame, but who's responsible for changing that narrative in terms of like shooting more different kind of like different kind of like like
I think it is a narrative.
concept or like different kind of movie because again like all of us can keep on saying like this and that, but again sometimes I just try to simplify certain things like
Okay.
like in terms of like why isn't the UK basically shooting like more different content when we've got all of these gadgets and like there's more creativity more than ever from certain people and whatnot, if I'm
Okay.
making any sense.
So I think that the reason why the UK have so many gang kind of concepts is because it's easy to shoot. When we kind of try and do two things. It's easy to shoot and that content gets supported more. So when people do a romantic comedy, people not really into that. I think that people enjoy what I don't know why, but it gets support. Gang stuff gets supported so much. I think that it's about the resources that we have. A lot of the gang stuff is filmed on the street, so we don't have to pay for the street. When you need to pay for locations, it gets expensive. Say that we want to use it, we might not be able to use it for long periods of time. Now, filming takes hours of your time.
Yeah.
And so it's about utilizing your time, the actors, everything. Trust me, it's just easier to film in the street. And that's why a lot of our stuff is in the street and it starts to look all the same. The second thing about being supportive of other content, I mean, I've experienced it. I've done other stuff and I would say that the gang stuff definitely gets more support. I guess people just enjoy seeing the drama and the action, the fun, maybe things that happen in their community. They want to see, like they can relate to it more rather than love, maybe. I mean, personally, I'm a bit bored of it, but I also, as a filmmaker, I understand why we keep making it because now everything is based on numbers and getting traction. And so all of that, when you think of all the components, the gang stuff gets it. And that's real.
Yeah, like with the gang stuff as well, like obviously I understand like you see that what you said, like sometimes it's easier to shoot and all of these things,
Yeah.
but also at the same time it's like what you said surprising me as well, like a lot of people really support the gang kind of like cultured movies and whatnot more than like the romantic and other content as well.
Yeah.
So like because when I look online, it's like for me I just see like a lot of different certain people saying no, we need a bit more. So it's like am I basically is a small group of people like making a lot of noise, or like you said, is the demand really there, or like I said, it's just a small group of people like making a lot of noise, but realistically, like you said, like a lot more people would prefer more of the gang stuff, if you get what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's hard because I know that money is the reason why.
If
we had money, we would be filming lots of different stuff. I'm sure loads of people had Ratman's idea. I'm sure. But do you have the resources? Do you have the money? No. So we've got to work with what we've got. But I know that a lot of people are working on something right now. And then when they get the exposure, they do want to show their bigger ideas. And unfortunately, we have to go through the gang part before we get there.
Yeah, to get that traction.
Yeah.
Like when you was growing up,
Yeah.
like going a little bit back, like when we
Too far.
when you was growing up, like what kind of like movies was you into? Like what kind of things did you like literally watching? Like when you was younger?
My mum used to watch like Friday. Set It Off is like my favourite.
One of my favourite ever movies.
Soul Food.
Yeah.
You're saying all of the classics.
Motives,
Jesus.
like those ones, like back in the day. I don't think even like a lot of the young people don't even know what Set It Off is.
Yeah.
How crazy that is.
I know, but those are great films, and they are. So Set It Off is a bit gang,
Yeah.
a little bit. But Motives is about love and how love went wrong, actually. But like I come from that era, so maybe that's why I see things a bit different. I would love to hear what someone like 10 years younger than me, what their favorite films, what they were watching. But for me, where I am now, I just want to tell stories that I can relate to, like how maybe people that come from the environment where I am and how they, got out of that. And I think a lot of people are like me. It's about like, they want to watch a story about growth, how to get out of that situation. That's why I think Top Boy was so successful,
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, Top Boy was a great like concept, but at the same time, it had the roadman thing, but also trying to get out and be successful, but being dragged back to, it was, I think that's why Top Boy was so successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it just me, yeah? Like you just said as well. You said it as well. Like, you named off some classic movies, like back in the days. Like, I like to have this conversation with certain people, like saying, is it me or the quality and the feel of the movies these days that's not compared to how things were back in the days, the movies that, were getting produced back in the days? Is it because we was younger? Was it a bit more, I don't know if you're trying to say, basically I'm trying to say like, nowadays I struggle, I don't really watch a lot of movies, but I'm trying to say like, nowadays I really, really struggle to basically like compare, like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies back in the day, classics, like certain movies that you said, compared to movies that just get put out like basically like these days, like it's just not the same. And it's like, is it me because I'm just a bit more grown, or
maybe,
or basically like what is it?
I don't know. I think it's based on opinion because I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think that these days, I don't know. That's a good question,
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I feel like I could watch more movies back in the day. I
Of
can't
course.
really watch movies now.
No, it's like, even like if we're just talking about like a certain genre, like, because obviously my dad was a big fan of like, obviously action movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, even like a lot of these movies, it's like, they're just not the same. Even action movies to a certain degree, they're just not the same. And I'm just thinking, sometimes I like to think, is it because, again, I'm just more grown? Mentally, I'm obviously in a different place. Or it's just that directors have changed? Is it just simply because we live in a different, obviously, era or whatever? Because once again, even going back to all of these gadgets, I literally thought, the more better gadgets that we have, all of these technology, whatever, like, when it comes to you guys, like, making movies and things like that, I would have thought we would have been seeing some complete different out of there, like kind of like Avatar kind of thing, like proper quality action movies and whatnot. But it's like every time, like on Netflix or whatever, I struggle to really find like an action movie that I really, really love, like the way I used to watch, like I said, Sylvester Stallone movies, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Okay, maybe it's because back then there wasn't so many films that came out. Maybe now we're over. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe we've got too much available. Maybe Netflix, Prime, we're watching a series here. Maybe we're just spoiled. And now we're like, oh, like, I don't know.
I think you're right. I think we are spoiled for just because now, I don't know if you noticed they're showing a lot more movies on games.
Yeah.
So they're heading more into that route.
Yeah.
Because like the whole MCU, DC, like they kind of ran out of ideas. Yeah. So
and those were unique ideas as well. Sometimes I even feel like even the Disney movies, they're recreating Lion King. And what's the other one they remade? Aladdin. Yeah. Like, why are we recreating?
Mowgli.
Like why?
Yeah, it's like they're just running out of ideas. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
so it's true. I don't know. Maybe back then we didn't have as much choice, so it was quality. And now it's quantity. I think that's maybe it.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Like, what area did you grow up in?
East London, Stratford.
East London, Stratford.
Yeah.
Okay. Was you like? How long have you lived in Stratford for?
Forever.
Okay. So basically, you was there. You was there way before like all of this. Like Stratford
City.
Yeah. And how was it growing up like in Stratford, man? How was like your childhood growing up?
For me, maybe because I'm a girl, and I had a good circle. It wasn't bad. I really had a good childhood, you know. Like, thinking about it's mad because the way like our mums just used to let us out and just trust us that we would come back because there was no phones and stuff like that. I sound proper old now, but it was like we didn't have that. So I'm like, I had a good. There wasn't that much crime. Like, I feel like there's more crime now than back then. Like, I had a good time growing up. You know, playing out bike rides. You know, there wasn't any fear. There was no fear. We was resourceful to have fun with nothing. And then now I feel like these kids, they just need things to keep them occupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I grew up when I grew up. Let's say that.
Yeah. And what was like your first heartbreak?
Ooh, my first heartbreak. What, like a boyfriend?
Boyfriend. Puppy love.
Puppy love.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to say puppy love because everybody loves different.
Yeah.
Even when you're young, so you know what?
My first heartbreak.
Yeah.
I think must have been about 12, 13.
God damn.
But like, he was just like, it was like puppy love for real. Like, it wasn't like, you know, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you're just holding hands. What are you really doing? You know what I mean? Yeah, you're not doing anything.
What are you doing at 12?
Like, I went to a girls' school as well. So the boyfriend was like, he went to the boys' school around the corner, and you think like, you know, but what are you really committed to? You just see him holding hands with someone else on the weekend. Like, it wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
Thinking about it broke my heart at the time, but it was such a minor. Oh my God. Yeah, that was my first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that there's that transition between obviously being like a child, a young naive child, and then obviously all of us get to at different times we get to a point when it's like, you know what, and I'm like an adult now, you know, like life is just not fun and games anymore. Like, do you remember like the moment, or like around roughly what age reality kind of hit you to be like, you know what, I'm actually starting to get, you know, I'm a young grown woman, like, and slowly obviously like maybe responsibilities started, you know, like happening, education, maybe work, and that. Yeah, do you remember that actual moment when you had that switch from just being young and free to I'm a young adult?
My life, I felt like I was just living for the weekend. I enjoyed my 20s because it was just all about going out. I had a job, a really good job, and it had really good hours, and then I would get my cousins and we'll go raving. That's all it was about, just raving and going out on the weekend. I had no responsibility literally until my mid-20s, where I met my ex and I had a baby, and that's when life it changed. And it was like, whoa, like, okay, this money that I was just throwing away, this has to stretch, this has to feed a whole different being. And that's when my life really became real, if I'm honest. Like, before then, I wasn't really thinking too much far ahead, or I thought I had my career sorted. So it wasn't until I had her, I was like, oh my God, I really have to think of a plan. Like, does this plan make sense long term? Does this make sense? Do I have to change direction? Until I had my daughter, my life really didn't have much meaning, if I'm honest.
You was a free spirit, would you say?
Yeah, I was just going with the flow. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, obviously, for me, I got 3 kids, innit? And I literally say, obviously, I would never regret my kids whatsoever. I'm a very open person. But I usually say, like, in hindsight, looking back here, if I could literally change anything, I'll just have my kids a little bit, when I was a bit older. I'm a little bit more mature. Like, how about you? Do you, obviously, just out of the blue, do you, like...
I think about that sometimes.
Yeah, do you think about that sometimes?
I think about it and I'm like... The thing is, right, I've had friends who had children young as 16, but now they're free. They can now live their life now. So it's like, I'm not encouraging anybody to have babies at 16. But what I'm saying is, it's like... Accidents happen. And when they had them at 16, cool. I get it was hard. But now they can... But then it's like... Is there a right time to have kids? Because you could have focused on your career, and then you get in this hole of just focus on your career, and then you're like, where do kids fit in? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know when is the right time to have kids, but if I could go back, I think 30 is the right time. So in your 20s, when you come out of uni, you've got like 10 years to like focus, and then 30. It depends how many kids you want. Like, I feel like, but then do you have a boyfriend at the time? You might not have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Then you might get a boyfriend at like 35, and that's a bit, is that too old? I don't know. I had this talk the other day with my friend, actually. It's like, do you, like, maybe have all your kids before 40? I don't know. It's hard.
I'd say 30 would be the right time.
30's cool. Yeah.
So, because in your 20s, you're still active.
Yeah.
Your 20s.
Yeah. And are you mature enough? This is it.
That one there as well.
Yeah,
Maturity.
like.
I think you're only just discovering like
Yeah.
who you are still when you're in your 20s. It's only when you reach 30 you're like, okay.
But I also think that what happened was my mum, she was cool, but I didn't have to pay bills like that. Like she kind of like, I gave her money in a month, but I didn't know where it was going. Like, where was that dedicated, or how much really is the council tax? Are you asking your mum how much the council tax is? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So when you're getting paid, if you knew that the council tax cost this, Sky, Wi-Fi, all these other bills, you're just focused on your phone bill, giving your mum money enough just so she gets off your back. But maybe we need to just give these kids a bit more, I don't know, knowledge about, these are the things that you have to pay for when you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
Add a child and what they're eating and the food and the clothes on their back. Maybe they'll take life a bit more serious.
Yeah, because I think for me,
Do you guys think it's fair? Sorry to cut you, bro. Do you guys think it's fair for parents to charge their kids to, like?
Yeah, 100%. You can't just, you gotta learn. Like, that's what I'm saying. If my mum maybe gave me 2 free bills to pay,
But the kids wasn't asked to be born.
yeah, but it's live. You're here.
It's
and
reality.
It's like, yeah, and when you leave my house, I want to give you the tools that you can survive, you know? And so if you let me keep my money, I'm spending it. I don't think I even saved that much before I moved out. So I think it's a thing where just provide them with the tools and just like get them prepared to leave the nest.
Yeah, I think like it's only when I reached 18 I had to kind of.
Or 18. That's okay. That's quite young, but at least you had the tools at 18. I know people that moved out at like 16, 18, those kind of times. But that's when, what was 18 is uni, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, uni. So even at uni, some people went far and stayed on campus, and some people didn't. I didn't. I stayed at home. So again, I'm still in that not knowing or what it's like to live out. So one thing I would go back, I would definitely go away for uni as well and get the whole experience.
Okay.
I regret that.